Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So it looks like there's a few people waiting. We've got like 1 or 2 minutes before we start. And everything charged here. All right. So it said someone. Okay, so I'm getting notifications that you guys are in the waiting room, but Zoom is not allowing me or has not given me the notification to let you in, which I apologize for. So in the replay, just know that I'm in here and I'm wanting to let you in. So it is 8 p.m. So we're going to start. I'm going to review my notes really quickly here. Because I was thinking in my mind that we were having magic class tonight because it is a Thursday. And I just don't know what was going on with my schedule. So in my head, I was like really ready to go in on this magic class. Magic comes from within. But the link that has been presented to me is about the healed goddess. And so this training is going to be an introduction to the healed goddess program. If you are a full member, then you will have access to it. If not, this is the beginning training, and I'm trying to see where I was. So the class that I thought we were having tonight is not until the first Thursday of next month. So again, I apologize for that. But we are going to talk about the healed goddess, and I'm going to teach you some techniques to reset your nervous system, etc. So I want to begin with a little bit of grounding breath and shamanic shaking to release the tension. Okay. The grounding breath or the goddess breath, or there's lots of names for it. And I am outside and I do live by an airport. For those of you who are new, if this is the first time or the first class that you've taken with me, I am Goddess LaMeel. I am the founder and creator of the Goddess University, the founder of LaMeel.com, the founder of Goddess Life Ministries, etc., and the author of the Goddess Codes. So this course was developed because I experienced, the majority of my life, I lived in trauma. I lived in toxic environments. There were very good things in my childhood, very, very good things, but there was still trauma in my childhood, right? Parents do the best, and I understand that parents would do the best they can with what they have at that time, at least the majority of them do. And I give that grace to my parents. However, it didn't change the fact that I experienced trauma, either trauma by their hand or trauma by others that they did not know how to handle, which exacerbated my trauma. um, and of course, what that does is causes you to feel like that trauma is normal. And so then you end up in relationships that mirror that trauma because you think that is what love is, right? And that is what is normal and that's what's natural, and it's not. So the grounding breath that we're going to first start with to kind of shake off some tension or to release some tension is a 4-count breath. Don't you think of a triangle? So we're at the base. We're going to go down. You're at the base or at the tip, excuse me. And you're going to go down the right side to the count of 4. And you're going to hold it. And then you're going to go across to creating the base to the count of 4. And then you're going to hold it for 4. And then you're going to go up the left, back to the tip, to the count of 4. And you're going to hold it for 4. So every breath is making this amazing triangle. Now, my triangles are inverted. So I'm really going like from right to left to create what would be the base, down from the left to the tip, and then up to the right. Why? Because the down and there again is another plane. So if you are familiar with how some of my classes work, it is very casual. It is very relaxed. If you have questions, please type them in the chat. I kind of block everybody out so that people aren't staring at each other. And and so if you put in the chat that you have a question, you can unmute yourself. We can ask at the end. And I'm going to ask you to do some work on your own from where you are. And also get yourself a drink, light a candle, light some incense, like do the things that make you relaxed, comfortable. Get a blanket if you need be, some pillows, lay down, sit down, stretch out, whatever is good for you. Okay. So this breath, and the reason that my triangle is inverted is, if you are familiar with the Goddess Codes, which is the book, the hard copy is coming out this month. The downward facing triangle is about the feminine energy. So that helps to awaken the feminine energy. The upward facing triangle is representative of that masculine energy, and both of them are on the cover because it embodies both energies synchronizing and coming together for the purpose of manifestation. So let's begin with the grounding breath. We're going to breathe into the count of 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Hold for 4. Up and in for 4. Hold for 4. You completed one triangle. We're going to do it again. Okay. One of the things that we do like to do in some of our classes, if you are a drinker of spirits, including wine or anything really, every time we hear a plane, we take a sip. Can't stop the planes, but I'm also not going to stop the message. So it's a little game that we play in some of the classes. And now what I'd like for you to do is stand up. We're going to do some somatic shaking. So, and then I'll explain to you these 2 exercises. So you stand up and you simply just shake your body everywhere, all over, all at once, as fast as you possibly can, right? So you're just shaking it, shake your head, shake everything in the air, shake your legs, butt, back, right? You're shaking off the energy. It is actually an energy exercise that allows you to release tension in the body and in your energetic field. So now that we've shaken off the energy and we have grounded ourselves, those are 2 very important exercises that you can do at any point in time when your nervous system becomes dysregulated. So we're going to call in the energies of compassion, healing, and divine feminine support at this time. And I want you to whisper to yourself what it is that you are ready to release. So if you are ready to release trauma, if you are ready to release victimhood, being victimized, feeling victimized, if you are ready to release playing small, whatever it is that you're ready to release, I want you to whisper that now. I am ready to release. And then I want you to repeat after me. I am held I am safe. I am open to healing. I am ready to rise. So goddess, healed goddess is it's a journey. Okay. The courses are going to be released. There's going to be classes every single month that I do live and some that are going to be pre-recorded. So it's a 16, if you do all the work through it, it's a 16-week transformation or journey that you go on. So a healed goddess, and the reason it's called this is because a healed goddess is not about perfectionism, right? This is not getting to a point where everything in your life is perfect, because nobody has a societal quote unquote perfect life. Sometimes it seems that way, but what they're lacking is happiness, right? And to me, happiness is a huge component of being healed and having perfection or something that is ideal, right? So when you become a healed goddess, while you're on the journey of being a healed goddess, this is not about becoming perfect. This is about wholeness. There are 4 stages to the program, because I believe that there are 4 stages to this healing journey. We go through the release, which sometimes can be the most painful part. We go to the reclaim and the remembrance, right? So when you release, you're healing wounds. You're shedding that survival mode. You don't have to live in survival mode anymore. But you do have to identify it. You have to know you are in survival mode, what survival mode is, so that you can transition out of it. You have to heal the wounds. They don't have to be perfectly healed, but identifying the wounds is a lot of what we do during that first phase. We identify that this is a wound and this is what we need to do to heal, and we put that into practice. And then we begin to shed the survival mode. Stage 2 is the reclaim. So you reclaim your voice. You start to reclaim your self-worth. You start to set boundaries. You start to identify what is your truth. Okay? What is your truth? Not the truth that you were sold, not the truth that you were told, not the truth that you saw, but essentially what your truth is. And you start to reclaim that, so that you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know what your boundaries are, and you develop your voice and that throat chakra so that you can stand on business essentially and not back down. Stage 3 in the healing phase, or on this healed goddess journey, is the restore. So now that we know what we're dealing with, we've made the changes, we've did the identification, we have set things in motion. The main thing that we need to address and deal with when we are talking about healing is the nervous system. We need to deal with your nervous system, your pleasure sensors, and your self-trust. Because when you've been in very negative, toxic situations, we stop trusting ourselves, right? Because it was ourselves that got us here. It was ourselves that made that decision, etc. So we need to learn to trust ourselves again. We have to restore our nervous system. When your nervous system is regulated, you move out of survival mode. The nervous system being dysregulated will cause all types of disease, right? From stroke to cancer to on and on and on. Every ailment almost in the body can be related back to the nervous system being dysregulated. The step 4 in this journey is the embodiment, the purpose, and aligned living. Embodiment is making it part of who you are. You have to let it become you. You become it. You become one. You have to live it as your truth, right? And then you find your purpose now. So, what our purpose was, sometimes we leave toxic situations and we don't know what our purpose is. And I'll tell you, like when I left my second husband, I didn't even know my favorite color. And because I was so dysregulated, I was not physically abused, but be don't be mistaken. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, all of those things create brain damage. Okay. So, this journey of regulating your nervous system also allows your brain to heal, develop new synapses, and function properly. So, in the rise, which is stage 4, right, there's the embodiment. So it's not just something you do, it's something you be, right? These new habits, this new patterns of thought, the new belief systems that you develop, it becomes who you be. And from being those things, you are able to then move into what your new purpose is. Your purpose, your calling, that type of thing. You're able to explore that because now you know who we are in abuse, who we are in trauma, who we are dysregulated is not who we are without it, right? When I'm having to leave a relationship, like that's one of the questions that I work through. Who am I without this drama? Who am I without this trauma? Who am I without this pain? Because that's who I'm looking for, right? Uh, there's some kind of ambulance coming around, guys. I'm so sorry. It seems like it's getting closer. Okay, it's past us. So the other thing that I ask is who, and if you don't know, who am I uninterrupted? Who am I uninterrupted? I have 8 kids. I have 5 grandkids. Most of the time, at the very least, half of all of those 14 people are in the house with me. So who am I uninterrupted? What are my interruptions? Right? Because my trauma was so severe at points that I wasn't aware of the interruption and the disturbance that I was having like internally with my family, right? So it's like, I don't know if you've ever uh hurt yourself, right? Like you ever had a shoulder pain, right? So say your right shoulder hurts and it hurts so bad it's unbearable and you finally get released. So maybe you put Tiger Balm or Ring Master or something on it, and that shoulder finally relaxes. Somebody rubs it for you, and the muscle relaxes. And then you realize, God damn, my right shoulder, the other shoulder is hurts. Like, but the first shoulder, so say the right shoulder was the original shoulder that's hurting, it was so severe you couldn't even tell you were in pain on the left side because it completely took over. Once it was addressed, you realized that the left side hurt almost as bad. And now you have just as the same level of intensity pain that you need to deal with in the left side. And that happens when you're in trauma, right? So that situation may be traumatic and you move out of it and it's like, I'm finally free. But my relationship with my parents or my relationship with my children is unbearable. Well, you couldn't even address that. Your awareness couldn't even get there because of the other um, trauma you were experiencing. But as you release it, you will develop your purpose. And in developing your purpose, you end up learning to live aligned living. And what will happen is now that you have overcome the most recent trauma, you know the steps, you know the process, you know how to heal. And now that you're living aligned, you will have tools that will help you stay aligned as you work through and heal through those other layers of trauma. So, so let's talk about the nervous system. Your nervous system and the trauma response. So ultimately your goal is through this training is that you become empowered and you empowering the understanding really of how trauma affects the behavior, how it affects your healing. When you understand it, it is easier to move through it. Trauma is not something that you just get over, you move through it. So understand that. Most people are aware of the fight or flight, but it is deeper than that. It is actually 4 stages. So you either do a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay. You're doing one or the other. Hold on 1 second. So it's important for you to understand these stages because we don't all fight. We don't all freeze, right? We don't all do one or the other. Sometimes, depending on the circumstances, we may do one or the other, but we don't all do all four. And certain situations and certain people, certain traumas may cause certain things. So in certain situations, you may fight. In certain situations, for example, if I'm experiencing trauma and I feel like it's affecting my child, I fight, right? But if it's a trauma that was being inflicted on me by a parent, I was in more of a freeze mode. So when you are in fight, it is the protector. The core response is I must defend myself for survival. So what that looks like is anger, irritability, blah, 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 irritability, defensiveness, over controlling, or needing to fix everything. So the other thing that knowing this information is good for is that it allows you to call out and understand where other people are, right? So even though so now when I see people who have this obsessive need to control every aspect of everything, this is simply their trauma response, right? And they feel like they have to defend themselves to survive. And the way that they're going to survive is by controlling everything. And then you kind of know where they're coming from. It makes it easier for you to deal with them. But moving on, they have confrontational energy. They usually have a very sharp tone and a deep need to be seen and respected. So when people are like, it's all about the respect, if I respect, I ain't got nothing. They're still in that protector fight mode. This is still a trauma response. Now, the wounded feminine expression of this is rage. It is harsh boundaries, warrior walls, right? The healed feminine path of this is having sacred boundaries, speaking the truth with grace, using fire to empower but not destroy. So my ex used to be like, you're coming in hot, like you and he will tell you like, oh, he would say, he told anybody, she's so fucking mean, she can be mean. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I've never ever ever lost myself towards him. He's never seen a raw, unfiltered anger from me because I put fire to his ass, but I was never ever trying to destroy him. So I can't even imagine what he would do if he had to actually feel that wrath. Okay. But when you are healed, you come from, I'm a light a fire under your ass, but I'm not going to destroy you. I don't have the need or the desire to destroy in that way. So when you if you are the person coming across angry, you have irritability, defensiveness, right? If you are over controlling, you need to fix and control everything. You're confrontational, you take a sharp tone with everybody. Um, and you feel like you need to be seen and you need to be respected. Understand that you are in fight mode. Where you're looking to go when you heal, how that then translates is through sacred boundaries, speaking truth with grace, and using fire to empower and not destroy. And my favorite mantra for this is my power is not a weapon, it is sacred protection. There are goddesses who are the goddess of war, right? The goddess of war, we are looking to empower ourselves and protect ourselves, but you're still not trying to destroy everything. Then there's the flight. Flight is the escapist, right? The escape artist. The core response here is a need to escape, or I'm going to be overwhelmed. So what that looks like is overworking, overthinking, hyper productivity. You may be panicked, suffer severely from anxiety, perfectionism, avoiding emotions, uh, conversations, or staying busy so that you don't have to feel your emotions. What this looks like from the wounded feminine expression is just a disconnectedness. You're very scattered and ungrounded. From a healed feminine path, when you've been in this flight escapist energy, when you heal, you're then expressing stillness and safety in the body. You understand truth in divine timing, and you're grounding into the present time, presence. You're being very present, right? And a good mantra for this is it's safe for me to slow down and I can still be supported. You ain't got to run. You ain't got to hurry. You ain't got to rush, right? It is safe for you to slow down and you will still be supported. The next option in this arena is freeze. I have a light, I thought. Okay. Is freeze mode, right? So it's the silent one. Your core response is I can't move. If I go numb, I'll survive. So all of this shit is happening and you're just numb. You don't really feel anything. Like, I know this should probably make me cry, but it doesn't make me cry. I know I should be angry, but I'm not angry. It is that kind of stuff that's happening. So, what a freeze response looks like is numbness, it's disassociation, it is people that have, if you have brain fog all the time, if you feel stuck or paralyzed, if you are withdrawing or shutting down emotionally. And you have difficulty making decisions. So while we're on number 3, I want to let you know you can express, like I said earlier, all of these, all 4 of these, certain situations. So I was with someone who would, when you were having a dialogue, and the dialogue would cause him to freeze, right? His everyday life was more in the fight mode. But conversation, especially intellectual, spiritual, emotional conversation, would cause him to not, I'm sorry, every day was fight. Conversation, dialogue, going deep into a subject where he has to express his feelings or concerns or what have you, would create a freeze. The wounded feminine expression is hiding, being disconnected from your body. But when you heal, you feel reawakening sensations in your breath and touch. You have gentle movement and body-based healing, right? So um, you start to do yoga, you start to notice how your body feels. You start to be aware of how your body is feeling and where it wants to go and what it wants to do. And again, you are reclaiming your power through your presence. And the mantra for this freeze healing through the freeze is I return to my body. My sacred presence is my power. Now, the last one is one that people don't usually mention at all. It's called the fawn. And the fawn is the pleaser, right? Its core response is if I please them, I'll stay safe. And when you experience trauma as a child, more often, not always, because wives, are women with being abused by their significant other will go into this mode as well. But when you are children, right, and you have an abusive parent from the gate, we usually develop the core response. If I please them, I'll stay safe. And what this looks like is people pleasing, over giving, ignoring your own needs or your desires, saying yes just to avoid conflict, merging identities with others. So you're just mirroring what other people are doing instead of being your authentic self. Now, the wounded expression of this is just a feminine expression is a loss of self. And that martyrism kind of thing, right? You're the martyr. I'll take it for the team. I'll do it because nobody else will do it. Somebody has to do it. But when you start to heal from this fawn energy and the pleaser expression, it looks like sovereignty and self-devotion and speaking and honoring your no. And if you're in uh, this particular phase and you are a fawn and you are expressing that through your trauma, you're also going to want to back this class up with it's either a hell yes or a hell no. Right now, I think that class may not be in university. It is probably in on my YouTube. I will link. I'll put the link to that video under this one. But uh, as you start to heal, you need to start to live in your hell yes, and you'll become empowered to do so through the healed goddess. So the mantra for this is my truth matters, and I honor myself first. These trauma responses are not flaws. They're ancient nervous system protections. Let me say that to you beautiful people again. These trauma responses are not flaws. They are ancient nervous system protections. Your body and your soul did what was necessary to keep you alive. Know that, honor that, love yourself for that, but also know it is safe to choose a different path, the path of embodiment, regulation, and remembrance. And that's what we're here doing today. So when you live in, now that we've gone over the different stages of, trauma and the nervous system, my light is not really working out here. That is a problem for me. Can't see the notes. So when you live in chronic survival mode, when I say it causes brain damage, it literally it is proven, scientifically proven. Trauma causes brain damage, right? Emotional, spiritual, mental trauma causes brain damage as well as physical trauma. Not negating that at all. It impacts your intuition and your boundaries and how you identify joy. So I'm going to step away for a second so I can grab a light. Okay, so I've got my notes. I got my light so we can I can stay on task with the notes. But so we talked about the nervous system and the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. Chronic survival mode impacts literally everything: your intuition, your boundaries, your joy. Intuition is drowned out by the noise of the dysregulation and the trauma. When your body is literally consistently in survival mode, which of course is the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your nervous system prioritizes safety, not soul truth or spiritual guidance. One more time. When your body is consistently in survival mode, right? So be it fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your nervous system then prioritizes safety and survival. It does not prioritize soul truth or spiritual guidance. It blocks everything out because it is trying to keep you alive. So, how this shows up is you second guess yourself consistently. You can't make a decision to save your fucking life. Understand that the survival mode that you've been in is drowned out your truth and your spiritual guidance. It's not that I'm so undecisive. It is the damage of the survival mode that you've lived in. When you become hyper focused on what if scenarios, you can't be present because you're trying to plan for all of the unknowns and something could happen. Somebody could jump out. Somebody could, you know what I'm saying? Like you're worried about everything. Somebody slams the door. Do I got to fight? Do I got to run? That's how it shows up. If you feel disconnected from your higher self at times, so a lot of times I have talked to clients and they're like, but I pray, I talk to God, really, but you can't make a decision. And I'm gonna hold your hand while I'm telling you this. But if you are indecisive, if you are hyper focused on the what ifs, you are not being spiritually guided. You are not tuned in, tapped in, turned on to anything other than fear as a result of your trauma. I love you, but it's the truth. If you have difficulty hearing or trusting your own voice, if you don't trust yourself, understand that you are suffering from being in constant survival mode. When you no longer trust yourself, right? It's because you've been in survival mode for so long. You cannot trust your own inner guidance. Part of the time is because we feel like we did whatever it was that led us to this fucking shit show. When you heal, when you go on the journey, when you go through the process, the healed shift looks like when you regulate your nervous system, your intuitive channels reopen. Clarity starts to flow. You begin to feel your truth instead of thinking your way through fear, right? You are not worried about all of the what ifs. You're not afraid of everything. You're able to feel. If you are emotionally constipated or frozen, you are not living on intuition. You are not living with spiritual connection. You are living in survival mode and you are causing consistent brain damage. Okay. A good, a calm nervous system is really a fertile ground for divine downloads. If your gift is to be connected with spirit, You have to have a healed nervous system to tap into your gifts fully. The other thing that happens is that your boundaries are blurred when you are in chronic survival mode. Boundaries are blurred. A lot of people who have lived in survival mode their whole lives don't even fucking know what boundaries are. Okay? Because they don't exist when you are in chronic, constant survival mode, especially if you are in the fawn or the freeze. Boundaries feel dangerous. Saying no might have once brought a punishment or a retaliation or even caused you abandonment. So you learn to abandon yourself instead, right? I'm not going to abandon this person. I'm not going to tell them no. I'm not going to set these boundaries and be like, bitch, fuck off. Because what if they don't love me anymore? What if they don't just take no as a no? What if they take no as I've done them dirty? I've betrayed them because of whatever. You see what I'm saying? If you're a child, what if saying no means I get my ass beat? However, the healed shift of that is that you become regulated. You become your own sacred container. Boundaries become expressions of love and not fear. And I love everybody in my life, but it took me decades to love me more than everybody in my life. That even includes my children and my grandchildren, because listen, I can't do shit for you from an empty cup. So you have to love yourself more, right? But if saying no might have brought punishment or abandonment, so it leads you to abandon yourself. That's the only time boundaries get blurred, they get leaky, or they're just non existent when you've been in survival mode too long. When you go into the healed shift, right, it becomes regulated. You become your own sacred container. Boundaries become expressions of love, not just love for those people in your life, but love for yourself, not fear. You're able to protect your peace with grace and power. Like when I honor my limits, I honor my divinity. So you no longer overextend yourself to please somebody else. Okay. Other things that happen when you are in chronic survival mode. Your joy is either muted or it's missing. So I had several clients would be like, "Oh my God, no, I still experience joy. I still laugh. I still can have a good time. It's muted." And or it's not real joy. It's like, yes, that was funny. And I'm allowed to laugh because everybody else is laughing. But if you've ever been in a real abusive situation and you start laughing and it's hysterical and it is not hysterical to the abuser, abuse is coming. So survival mode is really a joy thief, right? Um, or what my kids would call a happiness stealer. Your body is constantly scanning for danger when you're in survival mode, not delight. So joy can never feel unsafe. Like a setup, like joy can even feel unsafe. Like it's like a setup for disappointment. So even if you're engaged with people who are like, I don't know, it seems good, but I don't want to get too happy about it, right? Understand that they are in survival mode. They've been in chronic survival mode and they are afraid to feel joy. When you heal through the healed goddess journey, your nervous system healing makes you feel safe again. So you give yourself permission to feel, express, receive without fear. Joy is my birthright. I reclaim my pleasure as a holy act. You are able to experience joy. I'm gonna check on, I just got a message on some people that are trying to get in. I'm gonna pause and go check on that. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are talking about chronic survival mode. So the fourth thing that can happen, and I am giving the examples of how chronic survival mode impacts your intuition, your boundaries, your joy, right? It also affects your self-trust, your self-worth. All of that becomes very fragmented. So living in survival teaches you that your needs don't really matter, or that you're too much, uh, or like you're being sensitive, or you're emotional, or whatever. How this shows up is that you doubt your decisions. You feel like you need to prove yourself. You chase validation from outside sources, not from with you, your connection to source. You feel like healing is a luxury, not a necessity. I got somebody I need to call tomorrow as I channel this message for you. But when you go through the healed journey and you have that shift, okay, your body begins to feel safe. Your soul rises. You trust your cycles, your voice, and your no's and yeses. And you begin to remember you are the fucking oracle for your own life. And the mantra for that is really like, I'm worthy of rest. I'm worthy of love, healing, joy, and simply, I'm worthy because I fucking exist. That's it. So the core truth about chronic survival mode isn't just a nervous system issue. It is a spiritual blockage. When your nervous system is fucked, you have a spiritual blockage. So trauma and abuse and neglect and all of those things that equate to trauma, being with a narcissist and all of that, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual abuse, doesn't just affect your nervous system. It creates a spiritual block, right? It impacts your intuition. It impacts your happiness. It impacts your boundaries, i.e., like I said before, it creates brain damage. Healing is not indulgent. Healing is not a luxury. Healing is not something for the rich or for something for those people who have the time. Healing is fucking revolutionary. And reclaiming your divine joy, your boundaries, your intuition is the ultimate act of sacred resistance. Trauma isn't just an event. It's how your body holds the energy of the expression. So this impacts you in every way possible. So I'm going to teach you after this plane goes by. I'm going to teach you a technique called hand over heart regulation. So this grounds your energy. We're going to ground your energy first, right? So you're going to ground your energy. It is a 4-step process. So you're going to sit or stand in a comfortable position, and you're going to soften your jaws, and you're going to soften your belly, and you're going to soften your shoulders. We're going to take a deep breath into the lower belly, right? So when you inhale, your belly should expand. You're going to inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. You're going to place your right hand, or whichever one feels most natural, gently over the center of your chest, right on your heart space. And if it feels good, place the other hand on your womb, because this is going to anchor the channeling between the intuition and your creation centers. Now we're going to breathe and we're going to drop in. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to begin to take slow, steady breaths. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 6. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as you breathe, I want you to feel the warmth of your hand and the rhythm of your heartbeat. Begin to feel your presence, not in your mind, but in your heart. Come out of your mind, drop down to your heart. And I want you to repeat after me. I am here with you. I am safe in this moment. I've got you. I love you. I hear you. It's safe to feel. And I want you to take these words as your inner mother, your higher self, your goddess frequency. God is holding space for your nervous system to return to peace. Now, while you're here, you can visualize a soft pink or golden light expanding from your heart and surrounding you. This is also a really good time to ask your heart a question. What do you need right now? And listen for a feeling, an image, or a whisper. You can also do some EFT work or journaling, inner child work, or any of those things at this point. This is an excellent time to go into that. So understand that you are not broken. Your nervous system has been protecting you, but now it's safe to soften. And we're going to talk about 10 holistic healing tools and many practices that you can do to heal your nervous system. So we're going to do an EFT session. But I want to provide you with practical, damn, it's the planes. Take a sip, take a sip, take a sip. I'm going to provide you with practical guides and accessible ways to begin healing right this minute. And I'm going to introduce you briefly and guide you through 10 tools, like I said, and we're going to start with EFT, right? So where is my EFT session? So if EFT is our topping points, and I thought I created one, but we are going to have to wing it. And we're gonna do one for being in survival mode, right? If you are unfamiliar with EFT, I'm gonna walk you through it. Okay, so I was just looking and I don't have it. So I'm gonna just do it off of a whim. So you will have to look up a tapping chart. We're going to use the karate chop point, which is the side of the hands. We're going to use the eyebrows, the side of the eye, the under the nose, the chin, the collarbone, under the arm, and the top of the head. And we'll keep repeating it. And I will let you know where we move. So you're going to continue to tap. You're going to repeat after me. And then I'll tell you when we move to the next one. So we're going to start on the karate chop point. I want you to notice how your body feels. Name it softly. Like, I feel tense, anxious, numb, exhausted, stuck, whatever, right? And then say loudly, even while we're tapping on the karate chop point, even though I've lived in survival mode, repeat, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've been living in survival mode, keep tapping it, I choose to remember that peace is possible. I choose to invite safety into my body now. So we're going to do the eyebrows. Tap on the eyebrows, the inner eyebrows. Points. I've been in survival mode for so long. Now go to the outside of the eye. My body has been doing what is needed to survive. Tap under your eyes. Hypervigilant, on edge, always waiting for the next hit. Under your nose. I honor my body for how hard it's worked to protect me. Now tap your chin. And now I choose to soften. Tap the collarbone. I choose peace. I choose ease. I choose softness. Under the arm, it is safe to feel safe. It is safe to rest now. Top of the head, I don't have to fight anymore. I am a temple of peace. Eyebrows again. I invite peace into every cell of my body. Side of the eye, peace is my new frequency. Under the eye, peace is my power. Under the nose, I am no longer surviving. I am sovereign. Under the chin, I live from a grounded divine place. Collarbone, my body, my mind, and spirit are safe to heal. Under the arm, I trust my heart to guide me now. Top of the head, I choose peace now. I embody peace. I am peace. Place your hand over your heart. Take a very long, slow, deep, nourishing breath and whisper, thank you, body. Thank you, self. I choose peace. I am safe. So that is EFT. And you can go very, very deep into very, very specific things. I think tomorrow, depending on anytime you watch this, you can go back to TikTok. I'll try to remember to do a link to the TikTok video that I'm going to post tomorrow. And it is about severing ties, cords, karmic contracts, soul contracts, soul ties, all of that with someone that you are no longer with any longer. Okay. Where's my list? So the other thing is breath work. The box breathing or magic breath or the goddess breath. That is the inhale for 4 and then hold for 4. Exhale for 4 and then hold for 4. It's very, very simple. It's 4, 4, 4. Breathe to 4, hold for 4, exhale to the count of 4, and then hold for 4. That is all you're doing. That helps immediately when you're in chaos. Another thing that you can do when you know that you're spiraling, you know you're experiencing anxiety, you know that you are in the trauma response, is to drink water immediately. So the nervous system reset, and I'm going to actually copy these. I'm going to type these up and put them under the video as well. So nervous system reset, you can shake, hum, or sway to move stuck energy. Now, I literally just did all of them at once, but it is a way to shake off. This is an energy exercise. You can shake it off, hum it off, get it off of you, okay? You can also find number 4, affirmation anchoring. So you speak powerful truths while touching your body. So I typically will rub my arms or I hug myself. I am safe, I am sacred, I am whole. I'm safe. I'm sacred. I'm whole. I used to just say, I'm safe. I'm safe. I am safe. I'm safe. Right? Because I'm reminding myself as I go through the healing journey, because there's times that you're still going to be triggered. There are times that you may have to engage and interact with the person that was inflicting the trauma on you. Okay. And that is a way to come out of the state of being triggered. So that's number 4 is affirmation anchoring. Number 5 is womb connection. So hands on your womb and breathe into your center. So put your hands on your womb and just direct your breath there. Another thing that you can do, number 6, is grounding rituals, which means you take your shoes off, you get in earth, take your shoes off and stand in grass, stand in dirt. If you live in an apartment, keep a pot of dirt like on the balcony or somewhere in your house. Stick your hands in it. If you cannot touch earth, visualize growing roots growing from your feet into the earth, right? Reconnect, hug a tree. But number 6 is grounding rituals, and that is done through nature. If you are able to get a grounding mat, and I will put the link under there, for the mat that I have at the foot of my bed. I don't have a full, well, it's not true. I'm not using it right now. So I have like a full mattress that is like a grounding sheet. But thank you, baby. You can just get a grounding pad that you can put your feet on. If you are still in the environment with your toxic person, they may not even want you to have a grounding mat in the bed, right? Because people just they're in a different state. So you put it like under on the floor where you watch TV, under your desk at work, whatever. Put your feet on it. It will help you ground. Number 7, eye gazing while saying, I forgive you and I love you. Into the mirror at yourself. Oh, let me tell you something. Mirror work changes lives. Mirror work shifts your frequency. Mirror work will take you to a new reality. Mirror work will cause you to quantum leap. Okay, let me just put that out there. But when you are just starting your journey, you need to just start with something very simple. So looking at yourself in the eyes, in the mirror, and it could be your phone, it could be an actual mirror, whatever, and just say, I forgive you and I love you. And just keep going and keep going until you feel the energetic shift. Number 8 is magical journaling. So this is what you started. If I healed myself, if my healed self could speak, and then you journal, what would she say? Every time, just, when you get time alone, if my healed self could speak and write what comes. The other next one is 9, which is nervous system nourishment. There's so many things here that it's actually going to be its own class, but herbal teas and mindful rituals. Nervous system nourishments. There are essential oils that you can rub on your vagus nerve. There are different teas that you can drink. I'm going to say to start here, start with ashwagandha and kava kava and chamomile, right? Those are the 3. Start sipping on those. If you're not a big tea drinker, you can get them from Lux and Light Apothecary in tablet form, or not tablet, but capsules. If you can't find them, which for some reason some people are not able to see them, you can send me a message. I will send you the links. I might actually just link everything. Okay, and number 10 is a sacred boundary package. Say aloud. No is a full sentence. Like, just start saying it to yourself. You may not even be brave enough to say it to other people yet, but you can say it to yourself. Okay. No is a complete sentence. So before we end, I want to, first of all, this is the activating mantra that I want you to continue to say all week long, the rest of this week through the weekend. I am the healed goddess. I am the medicine. I am the miracle. That is your activated power mantra. I am the healed goddess. I am the medicine. I am the miracle. If you feel so inspired, I want you to journal, or you can just make a post. Okay. What does your healed goddess want you to know today after hearing what's been said? What does your healed goddess want you to know today? If you start to have shifts and feel different after using the mantra, I am the healed goddess, I am the medicine, I am the miracle, let us know. Post that in the comments underneath um, underneath the video, this training. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how this works. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to explain to you how the Heal Goddess program is going to work. If you have a full Goddess membership right now, you will have access to the full program. It's that simple. If you have an active monthly membership, which is currently $38 a month. Now, if you have listened to this video, either because I decided to release it on YouTube, or you attended because you had the link through like Eventbrite and you just paid for this particular training, the best way for you to get access to the full 16-week journey of the Healed Goddess is to become a member of Goddess University. Okay. It's a 16-week transformational framework. We go through the release, the reclaim, the restore, and the rise. Plus, you get access to everything else inside of Goddess University. For those who are members, Goddess University in the healing school is where you will find this training and the subsequent trainings. They will release slowly. The whole entire program will not release at once. So every month there's going to be new trainings, there's going to be new activities, but also you will have the ability to ask me questions, let me know what your blocks or issues are that you need help working through, and I can guide you, give you extra guidance, personal, we can create some personal modality trainings that you can access through the university to help you. So that's one of the benefits of having the whole program. Now you can actually buy the whole program out for $111. You would still access it through Goddess University, but you will not have access to the rest of Goddess University. Only that program. You can post messages in the healing school chat room that will definitely get answered. But you will not have access to updates, expansions, any lives, things like that. You just have the program itself. Either way, I would love to have you. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message. I don't see any questions in the chat. So with that, I'm going to say I love you. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your energy with me, allowing me to share my energy with you. I appreciate you participating, and I will see you in our next week's training. Love you, guys.